Transformers: Dark of the Moon is a 2011 American science fiction action film based on Hasbro's Transformers toy line. The film is the third installment of the Transformers film series and the sequel to Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, 2009. The film is directed by Michael Bay and written by Ehren Kruger. Shia LaBeouf, Josh Duhamel, John Turturro, Tyrese Gibson, Kevin Dunn, and Julie White reprise their roles from the previous films, with Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Patrick Dempsey, John Malkovich, and Frances McDormand joining the cast. In the film, Optimus Prime and Sam Witwicky must lead the Autobots against Megatron and the Decepticons as they battle to possess powerful technology abandoned on the Moon, in order to restore Cybertron. Development of a third Transformers film began by May 2007. The film employed both regular 35mm film cameras and specially developed 3D cameras, with filming locations in Chicago, Florida, Indiana, Milwaukee, Moscow, and Washington, D.C. The film was 3D rendered specifically for 3D, and the visual effects involved more complex robots which took longer to render. Dark of the Moon's release date was moved from July 1 to June 29, in order to monitor an early response to footage. Exclusive early premieres took place on June 28, 2011, by Paramount Pictures, one night before worldwide release. The film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $1.124 billion worldwide. It became the fifth highest grossing film in history at the time, the second highest grossing film of 2011, Bay's highest grossing film, and the highest grossing film in the franchise to date. Like the first film, it was nominated for Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects at the 84th Academy Awards. It was followed by Transformers: Age of Extinction in 2014. Plot: the Ark spacecraft escapes from the planet Cybertron carrying an invention capable of ending the war between Autobots and Decepticons, and crash lands on the dark side of Earth's moon in 1962. NASA detects the crash, and President John F. Kennedy authorizes a mission to put a man on the moon as a cover for investigating the spacecraft. In 1969, the crew of Apollo 11 lands on the moon and secretly inspects the Ark before returning to Earth. In the present day, the Autobots assist humanity in preventing major conflicts. During a mission to the site of the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster to investigate suspected alien technology, the Autobots are attacked by Decepticon scientist Shockwave and his giant worm driller. After the two escape, Optimus Prime discovers that the technology is a fuel cell from the Ark. The Autobots travel to the moon and discover Sentinel Prime, the Autobots' leader before Optimus, in a comatose state along with 5 pillars he created as a means of establishing a space bridge, a wormhole able to teleport matter between 2 points. On Earth, Optimus uses the energy of the Matrix of Leadership to revive Sentinel. Meanwhile, Sam Witwicky lives with his new girlfriend, Carly Spencer, but is unable to work with the Autobots. At his new job, co-worker Jerry Wan gives him information about the Ark, before being assassinated by the Decepticon Laserbeak. Sam contacts Seymour Simmons to investigate the Decepticons' murders of people connected to the American and Soviet lunar space missions. They locate 2 surviving cosmonauts, who show photos of hundreds of pillars on the moon, and realize that the Decepticons raided the Ark long before the Apollo 11 mission and left Sentinel and the 5 pillars for the Autobots to find, knowing that Sentinel was the key to activating the pillars. Meanwhile, Sam and the Autobots fight off 3 pursuing Decepticons' hatchet, crankcase, and crowbar and return Sentinel to their base. Revealing that he made a deal with Megatron to ensure Cybertron's survival, Sentinel betrays the Autobots and kills Ironhide. Sentinel uses the pillars to transport hundreds of concealed Decepticons from the moon to Earth. Dylan Gould, Carly's boss, is revealed to be working with the Decepticons, and captures Carly with the help of Soundwave, who was disguised as Carly's car. At the demand of the Decepticons, the Autobots are exiled from Earth, but Starscream destroys their ship as it takes off. The Decepticons invade Chicago while placing pillars around the world to begin transporting Cybertron to the solar system, planning to enslave humanity and use Earth's resources to rebuild their home world. Sam teams up with former Nest soldier Robert Epps to go into Chicago to save Carly and arrest Dylan. They are nearly killed by the Decepticons before the Autobots, who survived their ship's destruction, intervene. Sam, along with Nest teams led by Lennox and Navy SEALs, rescue Carly and begin fighting the Decepticons. During the battle, the Autobot K is executed, and Bumblebee kills Soundwave, while Optimus fights Sentinel. Laserbeak, Starscream, Shockwave, and the Driller are also killed in the ensuing battle. Meanwhile, Wheelie and Brain sneak on board and sabotage the Decepticon mothership. Carly convinces Megatron that he will be replaced by Sentinel as leader of the Decepticons. Sam fights Dylan and knocks him into the pillar, which electrocutes and kills him. Bumblebee destroys the control pillar, closing the bridge and causing the partially transported Cybertron to implode. Sentinel overpowers Optimus, but is incapacitated by Megatron, who is determined to regain his leadership. Megatron offers a truce, but Optimus refuses and kills Megatron by tearing off his head, before executing Sentinel for his betrayal. Sam and Carly are reunited, and the Autobots remain on Earth as their hopeful home. Cast. Main article, list of Transformers film series cast and characters. Humans. Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky, the Autobots' human ally who's now a recent college graduate and once again must help stop the Decepticons. Josh Duhamel as Colonel William Lennox, a U.S. Army Rangers officer who commands the classified strike team Nest, an international joint task force battling Decepticons with the Autobots. John Turturro as Seymour Simmons, former agent in charge of the terminated Sector 7 unit and now a successful professional writer. Tyrese Gibson as retired U.S. Air Force Combat Controller Chief Master Sergeant Robert Epps, the former NCO in charge of the Nest strike team who now works at Kennedy Space Center. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley as Carly Spencer, Sam's new girlfriend and an Autobot ally. This character was created in place of Megan Fox's character, Michaela Baines, who was let go from this film due to controversial comments towards director Michael Bay in 2010. Alan Tudyk as Dutch Gerhardt, Simmons' personal assistant. Tudyk said he played the role as the same character from the film 28 Days. 8. Patrick Dempsey as Dylan Gould, a wealthy car collector and Carly's employer who is secretly working with the Decepticons. Kevin Dunn as Ron Witwicky, Sam's father. Julie White as Judy Witwicky, Sam's mother. John Malkovich as Bruce Brazos, Sam's employer and boss at Accurata Systems. Frances McDormand as Charlotte Meering, the Director of National Intelligence. Ken Jeong as Jerry Deep Wang, paranoid software programmer at Sam's work. Glenn Morsehauer as General Morsehauer, the Director of Nest, who communicates with the squad from the Pentagon. Ilya Baskin as cosmonaut Dmitry, one of the two surviving Russian cosmonauts who gives Sam information on the moon missions. Lester Spate as Hardcore Eddie, a former member of Nest. Josh Kelly as Stone, a former member of Nest. Ravil Izyanov as Foscode, a Ukrainian government official who learns the existence of the Ark's fuel cell in Chernobyl. He is assassinated by Laserbeak after disclosing the information to Lennox. Andy Daly as Donnie, a mailroom worker who loathes Wang. Keiko Agena as the aide and assistant of Charlotte Meering. Buzz Aldrin as himself, meeting Optimus Prime at the Nest headquarters. Bill O'Reilly as himself, interviewing Simmons through his television program The O'Reilly Factor. Transformers. A Peterbilt 379 truck is seen at BotCon 2011, it is beside a promotional poster of the film, with people behind the truck. A Peterbilt 379 used for the alternate mode of Optimus Prime. The Bumblebee Camaro from Transformers, Dark of the Moon at BotCon in 2011. Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots and keeper of the matrix of leadership who transforms into a red, yellow, orange, and blue 1994 Peterbilt 379 semi-trailer truck. Hugo Weaving as Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons and Prime's nemesis, who is still badly wounded from the battle in Egypt and transforms into a rusty, modified 10-wheeler 2011 Mack Granite M915 LHRT oil tanker truck. Leonard Nimoy as Sentinel Prime, Optimus's mentor and predecessor as the leader of the Autobots, who transforms into a red and black Rosenbauer Panther fire truck. He is later revealed as a traitor and partner to the Deceptions. Nimoy previously voiced Galvatron in the 1986 Transformers animated film. Mark Ryan as Bumblebee, the Autobot scout who is Sam Witwicky's friend and guardian, who transforms into a yellow and black 2011 Chevrolet Camaro. Jess Harnell as Ironhide, the Autobot weapons specialist and Optimus Prime's second-in-command, who transforms into a black 2009 GMC Topkick C4500. Robert Foxworth as Ratchet, the Autobot medical officer who transforms into a white and green 2009 Search and Rescue Hummer H2 ambulance. James Remar as Sideswipe, the Autobot combat instructor from Revenge of the Fallen, who transforms into a silver 2011 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray convertible, who was previously voiced by Andre Sogliazzo. Francesco Quinn as Dino/Mirage, the Autobot spy who transforms into a red 2011 Ferrari 458 Italia. This was Quinn's final role before his death shortly after the film's release. George Coe as K/Wheeljack, the Autobot engineer who invents gadgets, equipment, and weapons and transforms into a blue 2009 Mercedes-Benz E550. Tom Kenny as Wheelie, a former Decepticon drone turned Autobot from Revenge of the Fallen, who transforms into a blue radio-controlled toy monster truck. Reno Wilson as Brains, Wheelie's partner and a fellow former Decepticon drone who transforms into a Lenovo ThinkPad Edge laptop computer. Charlie Adler as Starscream, Megatron's second-in-command, who transforms into a Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. Frank Welker as Shockwave, the Decepticon scientist and assassin. Soundwave, the Decepticon communications officer who transforms into a silver 2011 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG. Barricade, a Decepticon scout who mysteriously disappeared after the final battle in the first film. Ron Bottada as Roadbuster, also credited as Amp, an Autobot wrecker who transforms into Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Hendrick Motorsports No. 88 Amp Energy/National Guard 2011 Chevrolet Impala. John DiMaggio as Leadfoot, also credited as Target, the leader of the Autobot wreckers who transforms into Juan Pablo Montoya's Earnhardt Ganassi Racing No. 42 Target 2011 Chevrolet Impala. Keith Sarabajka as Laserbeak, a Condor-like Decepticon who is fiercely loyal to Soundwave and frequently changes transformation modes. Greg Berg as Igor, a deformed Decepticon who serves as a personal servant to Megatron in his exile. Non-speaking characters. Crowbar, the leader of the Dreads who transforms into a black Police 2011 Chevrolet Suburban. Crankcase, a Decepticon Dread who transforms into a black Police 2011 Chevrolet Suburban. Hatchet, a quadruped Decepticon Dread who transforms into a black Police 2011 Chevrolet Suburban. Driller, a giant worm-like tentacled Decepticon and Shockwave's pet. Devkin, a quadruped Decepticon who participates in the Battle of Chicago and transforms into a Maz 543 P8X8 Soviet missile launcher. Topspin, an Autobot wrecker who transforms into Jimmy Johnson's Hendrick Motorsports No. 48 Lowe's/Cobalt 2011 Chevrolet Impala. Production. Development. You just learn a lot more about the hierarchy, and there's more about the history of what they had in Cybertron. Leonard Nimoy plays a great role. Michael Bay, on developing Sentinel Prime's character 9. Before the release of Transformers, 2007, Paramount Pictures began developing 2 sequels. 10 as a preemptive measure before the release of Revenge of the Fallen, Michael Lucky and Paramount announced on March 16, 2009, that a third film would be released on July 1, 2011, which earned a surprised response from director Michael Bay. "I said I was taking off a year from Transformers. Paramount made a mistake in dating Transformers 3. They asked me on the phone. I said yes to July 1 but for 2012. Whoops. Not 2011. That would mean I would have to start prep in September. No way. My brain needs a break from fighting robots. 11. Screenwriters Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman, who had worked on the first 2 Transformers films, declined to return for the third film, with Kurtzman declaring that the franchise is so wonderful that it deserves to be fresh, all the time. We just felt like we'd given it a lot and didn't have an insight for where to go with it next. 12. Revenge of the Fallen's co-writer Ehren Kruger became the only screenwriter for Dark of the Moon. Kruger had frequent meetings with Industrial Light and Magic's, ILM, visual effects producers, who suggested plot points such as the scenes in Chernobyl. 13. Additionally, writer Jenny Connor was brought on to help punch up the script, fleshing out the female characters, and adding humorous jokes. 14-15. On October 1, 2009, Bay revealed that Dark of the Moon had already gone into pre-production and its planned release returned to its originally intended date from 2012 to July 1, 2011. 16. Due to the revived interest in 3D filming technology brought on by the success of Avatar 17, talks between Paramount, ILM, and Bay had considered the possibility of the next Transformers film being filmed in 3D, and testing was performed to bring the technology into Bay's work. 18. Bay originally was not much interested in the format as he felt it did not fit his aggressive style of filmmaking, but he was convinced after talks with Avatar director James Cameron. 19. Who even offered the technical crew from that film. Cameron reportedly told Bay about 3D, "You gotta look at it as a toy, it's another fun tool to help get emotion and character and create an experience." 20. Bay was reluctant to shoot with 3D cameras since in test he found them to be too cumbersome for his filming style, but he did not want to implement the technology in post-production either since he was not pleased with the results. 21. In addition to using the 3D fusion camera rigs developed by Cameron's team, Bay and the team spent 9 months developing a more portable 3D camera that could be brought into location. 19. In a hidden extra for the Blu-ray version of Revenge of the Fallen, Bay expressed his intention to make Transformers 3 not necessarily larger than Revenge of the Fallen, but deeper into the mythology, for it to get more character development and for it to be darker and more serious. Unicron is briefly shown in a secret Transformers 3 preview feature in the Revenge of the Fallen Blu-ray disc. Ultimately, the producers decided to forego a plot involving the planet-eating Transformer, and no further comments were ever made on the subject. 22. Having been called Transformers 3, up to that point the film's final title was officially revealed to be Dark of the Moon in October 2010. 23. After Revenge of the Fallen was almost universally panned by critics and audiences, Bay acknowledged the general flaws of the script, having blamed the 2007-08 writers' strike before the film for many problems. Bay also said the film will get rid of the dorky comedy from the last film. 24. On March 19, 2010, the script was said to be completed. 25. Casting. Dempsey on the set of Transformers, Dark of the Moon in 2010. Megan Fox was originally attached to the film, and Patrick Dempsey's role as Dylan Gould was to be the employer of Fox's character, Michaela Baines. 26. According to various published sources, Fox's absence from the film was due to executive producer Steven Spielberg ultimately choosing not to renew her role in light of her comparing Bay and his work ethic to Adolf Hitler. 27-28. Although representatives for the actress said that it was her decision to leave the film franchise. 29. Bay later claimed that executive producer Steven Spielberg told him to fire Fox. 30. A claim that Spielberg denied. 31. I wasn't hurt, Bay stated, because I know that's just Megan. Megan loves to get a response. And she does it in kind of the wrong way. I'm sorry, Megan. I'm sorry I made you work 12 hours. I'm sorry that I'm making you show up on time. Movies are not always warm and fuzzy. 30. With Fox not reprising her role, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley was chosen to play Sam's new girlfriend. 32 Ramon Rodriguez was initially planned to be in the film, in a role bigger than the one he had in Revenge of the Fallen, but he was dropped during early production. 33 A few well-known actors such as John Malkovich and Frances McDormand were also selected for roles in the film. Malkovich explains, "I play a guy called Bruce Brazos, who's just a loudmouth, kind of businessman who's Shia's character's boss. Who's just a jerk, and a kind of a loud one. But a fun character. Nice. It was fun. Very, very enjoyable, just with Shia, Rosie a little bit, and with John Turturro. So, for me, it was a blast." 34. Another well-known actor, Ken Jeong, was cast as an eccentric co-worker and stalker. Jeong described the film, "Yeah, it's a small role in Transformers, but yeah, I had an out-of-body experience working on that one because I just couldn't believe I was there. Still, that was not a thing where I'm going to be a part of a blockbuster franchise like Transformers 3 or even now Hangover 2 for that matter. So I can't believe I'm a part of these franchises in any way. It was amazing. Michael Bay is brilliant and it'll blow your mind." 35. For the role of Decepticon scientist Shockwave, veteran Transformers voice actor Corey Burton was originally approached to voice the character after previously doing so in the original television series and Transformers, Animated. Burton declined the offer, citing his work schedule and disinterest in being involved in a blockbuster franchise. David Warner, Burton's influence on his Shockwave voice, was briefly considered, but the role was ultimately given to Frank Welker, adding to his already long list of Transformers characters. 36-37. Themes and inspirations. Skids and Mudflap were omitted from Dark of the Moon in response to Revenge of the Fallen's negative reception and the character's dorky comedy, which Bay realized that they formed a final crescendo. 38 Despite fan rumors that Skids and Mudflap would appear in the film, Bay made a public $25,000 bet that the characters would not be seen in Dark of the Moon. 38 They had a brief cameo in the N.E.S.T headquarters in their vehicle modes in the film. Bay acknowledged that Revenge of the Fallen was disappointing to the fans and said that he doesn't want the third one to suck. 39 Bay said that he wanted Dark of the Moon's final battle to be more geographic and feature a small group of heroes like Ridley Scott's war drama Black Hawk Down, Joe Dante's science fiction Small Soldiers and Hasbro's G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. 39 Bay also decided to include Shockwave because he considers the character bad and he's got a much bigger gun than Megatron and is a little bit more vicious. 39. According to the AV Club, the film had several minor story inspirations from the 1980s cartoon The Transformers, including the usage of a space bridge, and the kicking the Autobots out. 40 Better source needed. Similar to the previous two installments, the film was told in the human point of view to engage the audience. Bay wanted Sam to have a girlfriend like in the first two films. Actor Shia LaBeouf said that Sam and Michaela had become one character and, although he would miss Megan Fox, with this change you have discovery again from a new perspective. 41. LaBeouf also stated that the additions of Huntington-Whiteley and new characters allows Dark of the Moon to keep the magic of the first film. 42. Dark of the Moon also had numerous Star Trek references, partly because scriptwriter Ehren Kruger was a big Star Trek geek, 43 but also as a nod to the fact that new character Sentinel Prime was voiced by Leonard Nimoy, who originated the iconic role of Spock on Star Trek and voiced Galvatron in the Transformers, the movie. The first Star Trek reference is when refugee robots Brains and Wheelie, who live in Sam and Carly's apartment complex, are watching TOS episode Amok Time. Wheelie comments, "I've seen this one. It's the one where Spock goes nuts." 43. The second reference is when Sam meets his girlfriend, Carly Spencer, at work, and is being introduced to Carly's employer, Dylan Gould. Sam marvels at their workplace. "It's a beautiful building you guys have. Like the Starship Enterprise in here." 43. The third reference is when Bumblebee says goodbye to Sam at Cape Canaveral. The words "my friend" are sampled from Spock in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. "You are, my friend. I am and always shall be yours." 43. The fourth and final reference is when Sentinel Prime activates the control pillar, quoting Spock's maxim in Star Trek II and Star Trek III, "The search for Spock, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few." 43. Filming. Explosions on Wacker Drive in Chicago for Transformers, Dark of the Moon filming on location. The shooting of Transformers 3 in Chicago in July 2010, in the foreground the Autobot wrecker topspin as a heavily armed Chevrolet Impala. A Peterbilt 379, and a yellow Camaro are beside each other, with two police cars behind. They are near a building complex. Vehicles used on the set of Transformers, Dark of the Moon. Its production cost was reported $195 million, with the cost of the 3D filming accounting at $30 million of the budget. 6. Preparation for filming began on April 7, 2010, in northwest Indiana, specifically around Gary, which played Ukraine in the film. 44, 45, 46. Principal photography commenced on May 18, 2010, with shooting locations including Chicago, Florida, and Moscow. 47, 48. The first 6 weeks were spent in Los Angeles. Locations included Sherman Oaks, 4th Avenue, and 5. Main. The next 4 weeks were spent in Chicago. Locations filmed in Chicago included LaSalle Street, Michigan Avenue, Vecinos of Lincoln Park at 2204 North Lincoln Avenue and areas surrounding the Willis Tower. 49. The scenes set in Michigan Ave featured a substantial amount of pyrotechnics and stunt work. 50. Filming in Detroit was planned to take place in August, but the Chicago shoot was extended until September 1. 51. In late September, the production moved to NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, just before the launch of Space Shuttle mission STS-133. 52. Scenes were filmed at Launch Pad 39A, the vehicle assembly building and the orbiter processing facility. 53. 4 men wearing battle fatigues and holding guns and a crew member wearing a white shirt, a hat, and a walkie-talkie attached to its short stand on a set resembling a war-torn city. Actors on a Transformers, Dark of the Moon set in July 2010. While filming in Washington, D.C., the crew shot on the National Mall and Bay said that there would be a car race on the location. 2 further locations announced were the Milwaukee Art Museum and the former Tower Automotive Complex on Milwaukee's north side, then under redevelopment for mixed use, also the city's equipment yard. Filming was scheduled to take place there after work was done in Chicago. 54. On September 23, scenes were filmed at the former City Hall in Detroit. On October 16, a flashback scene that takes place in the later 1960s was shot at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, using extras with period fashion and hairstyles. 55. A day of shooting was also spent at the Angkor Wat Temple complex in Cambodia. 56. Other planned filming locations included Africa and China. 57. Though about 70% of the film's live-action footage was shot in 3D, 58 using Arri Alexa and Sony F35 cameras, 59 more than half of the film still had to be converted into 3D in post-production to fix technical flaws that 3D filming produces. 60. Other footage that needed to be converted into 3D in post-production was either completely computer-generated imagery or shot in the anamorphic format on 35mm film. 58. 35mm film was used for scenes filmed in slow motion and scenes such as close-ups of faces or shots of the sky that required higher image quality than the HD digital 3D cameras could provide. 58. 35mm cameras were also used for scenes where the 3D cameras proved to be too heavy, or were subject to strobing or electrical damage from dust. 58. Principal photography officially concluded on November 9, 2010. 61. Dark of the Moon was found to carry recycled footage from an earlier film directed by Michael Bay, The Island, 2005. 62. Bay recycled the same footage from his film Pearl Harbor, 2001, in the first Transformers film. 63. Accidents. Shooting of the duel between Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf, and Dylan Gould, Patrick Dempsey, in Chicago. Filming was delayed on September 2, 2010, when an extra was seriously injured during a stunt in Hammond, Indiana. Due to a failed weld, a steel cable snapped from a car being towed and hit the extra's car, damaging her skull. The extra, identified as Gabriella Cedillo, had to undergo brain surgery. 64. The injury has left her permanently brain damaged, paralyzed on her left side and her left eye stitched shut. 65-66 Paramount admitted responsibility for the accident and covered all of Cedillo's medical costs. 67 Nevertheless, Cedillo's family filed a lawsuit on October 5, citing 7 counts of negligence against Paramount, and several other defendants, not including Bay, with total damages sought in excess of $350,000. 68 Cedillo's attorney, Todd Smith, said, "This was an attractive 24-year-old girl who had dreams and aspirations involving acting, and this kind of injury may well have a serious impact on her dreams." 69. The filed complaint reads that Cedillo has endured and will in the future endure pain and suffering, has become disfigured and disabled, has suffered a loss of the enjoyment of a normal life, has been damaged in her capacity to earn a living, has incurred and will in the future incur expenses for medical services, all of which are permanent in nature. 69. In response to the suit, Paramount released the following statement: "We are all terribly sorry that this accident occurred. Our thoughts, prayers, and best wishes are with Gabriella, her family and loved ones. The production will continue to provide all the help we can to Gabriella and her family during this difficult time." 69. In May 2012, it was revealed that an $18 million settlement had been reached between Paramount and the Cedillo family. 70. Indiana OSHA's investigation was criticized. 71. A second accident occurred on October 11, 2010, in Washington, D.C. While filming a chase scene at 3rd Street and Maryland Avenue, SW, a Metropolitan Police K-9 unit SUV was accidentally rammed by the Camaro that portrays Bumblebee in the film. The area had been closed off by the Washington, D.C. police, and it is unclear why the SUV was there. Both drivers were uninjured. 72, but the Camaro was severely damaged. 73. Reports indicate that the K-9 unit was heading to a report of a bomb threat as part of a bomb squad response, but was not using the same radio frequency as the units guarding the filming and did not realize it had gone the wrong way until it collided with the Bumblebee Camaro. Many fans who witnessed the crash were horrified at the damage the Bumblebee Camaro suffered, and cast and crew members reacted quickly to cover up the damaged Camaro and secure the scene. 74. Visual effects. As with the previous Transformers installments, Industrial Light and Magic, ILM, was the main CGI visual effects company for Dark of the Moon. ILM had been working on the pre-visualization for 6 months before principal photography started, resulting in 20 minutes worth of footage. 75. Digital Domain also rendered 350 CGI shots, including the characters Laserbeak, Brains, Wheelie, and the Decepticon protoforms concealed on the moon, the space bridge, and a skydiving sequence. 76-77. External audio. Industrial Light and Magic's interview for the effects of the film. Audio icon. Listen to the interview. ILM's visual effects supervisor Scott Farrar said that not only were the film's effects ambitious, they also had to be designed for 3D, and explained the company's solutions for the new perspective. "We did make sure things are as bright as possible." Michael called up theater owners to make sure they keep the lamps bright in the theaters, make everything a little sharper, because we know that through the steps, no matter what, when you get to the final screening things tend to go less sharp. 78. On the last weekend of ILM's work on Dark of the Moon, the company's entire render farm was being used for the film, giving ILM more than 200,000 hours of rendering power a day, or equivalent to 22.8 years of rendering time in a 24-hour period. 13 Ferrar embraced the detail in creating giant robots for 3D, making sure that in close-ups of the Transformers' faces you see all the details in the nooks and crannies of these pieces. It's totally unlike a plain surface subject like a human head or an animated head. The supervisor said that Bay's style of cinematography helped integrate the robots into the scenes, as Michael is keen on having foreground/midground/background depth in his shots, even in normal live-action shots. He'll say, "Put some stuff hanging here." It could be women's stockings or forks and knives dangling from a string out of focus, it doesn't matter, but it gives you depth, and focus depth, and makes it more interesting. 79. In a city full of skyscrapers, a robot wearing jet thrusters on his back holding a cannon flies toward a large snake-like robot. A tentacle of the larger robot is exploding. Considerable digital animation was required for the elaborate driller as it comprised over 70,000 parts, significantly more than Optimus Prime's 10,000 parts. The most complicated effects involved the driller, a giant snake-like creature with an eel-like body and spinning rotator blades, knives, and teeth. In Revenge of the Fallen, it took 72 hours per frame to fully render Devastator for the IMAX format, which is approximately a frame amount of 4,000. For the driller, which required the entire render farm, it was up to 122 hours per frame. 75 The most complex scene involved the driller destroying a computer-generated skyscraper, which took 288 hours per frame. 78 For said sequence, ILM relied on its internal proprietary physics simulation engine to depict the destruction of the building, which included breaking concrete floors and walls, windows, columns, and pieces of office furnishings. ILM digital production supervisor Nigel Sumner explained, "We did a lot of tests early on to figure out how to break the building apart, exploring a lot of the procedural options. A building that's 70 feet tall to go in and hand score the geometry so when it fractures or falls apart would be a time-consuming, laborious process. The floor of a building may be made of concrete. How does concrete fracture when it tears apart? The pillars would be made of a similar material but made of rebar or other engineering components. We'd look at how a building would blow apart and then choose the best tool to help achieve the properties of that during a simulation." 79. A large red and gray robot, with humanoid shape. A black and white photo of actor Sean Connery, with many balloons and two persons in the background. Sentinel Prime, left, was modeled after actor Sean Connery, right. 13. The scenes in Chicago were mostly shot on location, as Bay believed the plates had to really be shot in the real city. Ferrar was always fascinated with the idea of shooting on location and then blending the film with computer-generated imagery. He said, "We try and shoot everything real. You may have seen some films recently where the entire city has been destroyed and it's entirely CGI. Well, for a Transformers film, it's different because we actually went to Chicago. If you start with the real thing, you have a lot more to work with to make it look real. So for a couple of months there, I was in a helicopter shooting aerial plates of the real buildings. And we'd add destruction to all the backgrounds, smoke, fire, debris, fighter planes, war, battles, torn up streets, to real cityscapes." 79. 4 ILM employees also traveled to Chicago and photographed buildings from top to bottom at 6 different times of the day in order to create a digital model of the city to be used in certain scenes. 13 ILM's crew designed many major action scenes 13 with many of the Chicago battle concepts coming from the helicopter shooting of the aerial plates. 75. Animator Scott Benza said Sentinel Prime had a face more human-like than any of the other robots, with a more complex frame and a greater number of plates so it could be more expressive. 13 ILM had based most of Sentinel Prime's features on Sean Connery, and after Leonard Nimoy was cast to voice the role, the effects were altered to incorporate Nimoy's acting as well. Every robot would take approximately 30 weeks to build visually. Originally, the fight between Sentinel Prime, Optimus Prime, and Megatron was considered to be on water in the Chicago River, but the budget was cut and ILM realized that they would not want to present that version of the final battle to Bay, so they decided to have the battle take place on the bridge over the river. 75 for a sequence where Bumblebee catches Sam and Lennox while transforming in mid-air. A digital double of Shia LaBeouf was combined with footage of the actor in high speed so that the effects team could time it for slow motion. 79. Since Bay shoots all his films in anamorphic format, Dark of the Moon's representation would be squeezed in to distort the image, and ILM would add in the robots and undistort the image. 75. The ample variety of filming formats used single camera, 3D stereo rigs with 2 cameras, anamorphic and spherical lenses proved a challenge, especially as ILM had a deadline to deliver the 3D plates to the companies responsible for the 3D conversion. 13. ILM made 600 3D shots, and Digital Domain had under 275 while Legend 3D, the lead 3D conversion company of the film, completed 78 minutes of work on the film and finalized the work of approximately 40 minutes of challenging non-visual effects and 38 minutes of visual effects shots. 80. Music. See also, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, the album, and Transformers, Dark of the Moon, the score. Steve Jablonsky, It's Our Fight. Duration, 28 seconds. 0:28. A 27-second sample of Steve Jablonsky's It's Our Fight. The climax is played, and a unique bass drum is used in the process. Problems playing this file? See Media Help. Composer Steve Jablonsky, who had before collaborated with Bay on The Island and the first 2 Transformers films, returned to compose the Dark of the Moon score. Jablonsky's musical score was lauded by critics and fans. The score was released on June 24, 2011, 5 days before the actual release of the film. 81. Although a bit more score-heavy this time around, the soundtrack is certainly featured, and we not only rejoin characters we have come to know, but some familiar artists who are back again as well. Alison Loring, reviewing the film's soundtrack. 82. The album was originally set for release on June 28, 2011, but Amazon.com listed the album as unavailable while the album was still being listed for release during the week of the film's global release. 83. It was available for download on Amazon on June 30, 2011. 83. And the score currently features 17 pre-recorded tracks that are featured in the final film. The score's length is approximately 59:47. 84. The album for the film was released on June 14, 2011. It consists of singles produced by different artists and bands, and rock tracks. American rock band Linkin Park composed the lead single for the film, Iridescent, as they did with the first 2 films. What I've Done was used in the 2007 film, and they composed New Divide for the 2009 film. The music video for Iridescent was directed by Joe Hahn. 85. 2 other singles were released specifically for the soundtrack, Monster by Paramore, Citation Needed, and All That You Are by the Goo Goo Dolls. Several other unreleased songs make their debut on the album, including The Pessimist by Stone Sour and The Bottom by Stained. My Chemical Romance's song The Only Hope for Me Is You also appeared and can also be found on their 4th studio album Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, and on the soundtrack. The song was not exclusively for the movie and was featured in the credits. 86. The Black Veil Bride's song Set the World on Fire is also included. Citation Needed. Marketing. A bus with Optimus Prime and Chinese characters printed on its side drives across a street. An advertisement for the film on a bus in Hong Kong. Most of the characters returned for Hasbro's new toy line, which was released on May 16, 2011. 87. In October 2010, Entertainment Tonight previewed the behind-the-scenes filming in Chicago. 88. 89. A 2-minute teaser trailer was announced on November 27, 90, and was posted to the internet on December 9, 2010. 91. A 30-second television advertisement for the film aired during Super Bowl 45 on Fox TV channel on February 6, 2011. 92. The first full theatrical trailer was released on April 28, 2011. 93. The very first video clip was released on May 18. 94. A second clip was released the next day on May 19. 95. The North American promotional costs came to approximately $75 million. 696. Novelizations. In May 2011, the novelization, junior novel, and graphic novel of Transformers, Dark of the Moon were released. Both the novel and the graphic novel featured Skids and Mudflap as supporting characters, but the characters were missing from the junior novel. The graphic novel made reference to several Autobots from the IDW Publishing tie-in comics who died in the stories between Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon. 97. Another novel, written by Peter David, was published on May 24, 2011, and was released only paperback. Though it is slightly different from the film, the novel still pertains to the topic and synopsis of the film it is based on in the outcome of the final battle. The novel features about 400 pages and is published by Del Rey Books. Its synopsis is: all humankind was watching that day in 1969. And yet only a handful knew the real mission behind America's triumph in the space race, to explore the alien ship that has crashed on the far side of the moon. Decades later, scientists are still struggling to understand the technology found on board, though with the treacherous Decepticons after it, a powerful force must be at stake. The only hope of averting a crisis is to reawaken Sentinel Prime, the long-lost leader of the Autobots, but who knows what else remains in the shadows, hidden from man and machine? 98. Video game. Main article, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, video game. On June 14, 2011, Activision published a video game based on the film for Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii, Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo DS. The versions for Nintendo's consoles were developed by Behavior Interactive 99, while the versions for the rest of the consoles were developed by High Moon Studios, who had previously developed Transformers, War for Cybertron. Electronic Arts released the game Transformers, Dark of the Moon on June 28, 2011, for Nokia Symbian smartphones, Apple products iPod Touch, iPhones, and iPad 101 and Research in Motion's BlackBerry devices. 102. Release. A blonde woman wearing a red dress and a gold necklace. Stones and a car can be seen behind her. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley at the film's premiere. Theatrical. Transformers, Dark of the Moon first premiered at the Moscow International Film Festival on June 23, 2011. Linkin Park performed a special outdoor concert in Red Square in Moscow on the same night in celebration of the event. 2. Initially scheduled to be released on July 1, 2011, the release was brought forward to June 29, 2011. 4. It was announced in November 2010 that unlike Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, no scenes in the film were shot with IMAX 3D cameras. 103. Home media. During Hasbro Investor Day, it was announced that the DVD and Blu-ray disc would be released in the fourth quarter of 2011. 104. The NTSC home release for the film was released on September 30, 2011. 105. With a Blu-ray 3D version of the film slated for release in the coming months. 106. 107. The first home release was criticized for the lack of bonus features. 108. A Walmart exclusive edition of Transformers, Dark of the Moon also was released on September 30, 2011. 109. The PAL DVD and Blu-ray discs of Transformers, Dark of the Moon was released on November 28, 2011. 110. In North America, it sold 716,218 DVD units, equivalent of $13,565,169, in its first week, topping the weekly DVD chart. 111. As of February 26, 2012, it has sold 2,829,285 DVD units, equivalent of $48,058,979. 112. It also topped the Blu-ray charts on the same week, and it has sold 2,381,657 Blu-ray units, earning $50,934,911 by October 23, 2011. 113. The Blu-ray 3D release of the film was released on January 31, 2012, in NTSC regions and on February 13, 2012, in PAL regions. 114. Transformers: Dark of the Moon was released on 4K UHD Blu-ray on October 30, 2017, in PAL regions and December 5, 2017, in NTSC regions. 115. The film grossed $113.9 million in home sales. 116. Reception. Box office. Worldwide. Transformers: Dark of the Moon had grossed $352.3 million in North America, and $771.4 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $1.123 billion. 117. It was the fifth highest grossing film of all time and the second highest grossing film of 2011. 118. On August 3, 2011, the film crossed the $1 billion mark, 119, making it the second Paramount film to do so, along with Titanic. Its worldwide opening weekend, $382.4 million, is the fourth largest ever and the largest for Paramount. 120. It set an IMAX worldwide opening weekend record with $23.1 million, first surpassed by Deathly Hallows, Part 2. 121. It reached $400 million, 6 days, $500 million, 9 days, $600 million, 12 days, and $700 million, 16 days, in record time, but lost all records to Deathly Hallows, Part 2. 122. North America. The film opened in 4,088 theaters, including a then record total of 2,789 3D locations. It made $5.5 million during Tuesday 9 p.m. showings, $8 million during midnight showings, 123 and $37.7 million on its opening day, Wednesday, including Tuesday showings. This was the sixth best opening Wednesday. 124. However, all these figures were lower than Revenge of the Fallen. 125. On Thursday, it earned $21.5 million, falling 43%, an improvement from its predecessor's Wednesday to Thursday decline. It grossed $33.0 million on Friday, totaling $97.8 million. Its 3D share accounted for 60% of its gross, which was atypical due to the downturn in 3D attendance in North America. For its 3-day opening weekend, Friday to Sunday, it grossed $97.9 million, topping the box office ahead of Cars 2. 126. It achieved the third largest opening weekend of 2011. 127. The fourth largest opening weekend in July. 128. The fifth largest opening weekend for a film not released on Friday. 129. And the second largest 5-day gross for a film opening on Wednesday. 117. It set records for the 3-day, $97.9 million, 130 and 4-day, $115.9 million, Independence Day weekend, surpassing Spider-Man 2's record in both cases, $88.2 million and $115.8 million, respectively, until both records were broken with the release of Minions: The Rise of Gru in 2022. 131. 132. It retained first place on its second weekend, dropping 52% to $47.1 million. 133. Closing on October 13, 2011, with $352.4 million, it is the second highest grossing film of 2011, 134, and the second highest grossing film in the franchise. 135, 136. Outside North America, the film grossed $32.5 million on its opening day, pacing 38% ahead of its predecessor. Including some early Tuesday previews, it earned $36.6 million in 1.5 days, 137, and by Thursday its international total reached $66 million. 138 by the end of its first weekend. It had earned $219.8 million, which stands as the fifth largest opening weekend of all time overseas and the largest for Paramount. 139 its foreign launch was 57% ahead of that of Revenge of the Fallen, $139.6 million. 70% of its grosses came from 3D, a higher 3D share than Pirates 4's 66%. 140 Don Harris, General Manager of Distribution for Paramount, commented on the results of Dark of the Moon, "If we hadn't chosen to debut the movie later in Japan and China, we probably would have had the all-time record." 141. The film topped the box office outside North America for 2 weekends in a row. 142. In China, its highest grossing market after North America, the film set records for an opening day with $15.9 million, a single day with $17.4 million, overtaken by Journey to the West, Conquering the Demons, 143, and an opening weekend with $46.8 million, $62.7 million with previews. 144 The latter was taken from Avatar, $42.0 million. 145 The opening weekend record, when including previews, was surpassed by Titanic 3D, $74.2 million. 146 Dark of the Moon ended its run with $167.95 million, marking the second highest grossing film of 2011, after Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2. 147 Besides China, it broke the opening day record in Russia and South Korea. 137 The single day record in Hong Kong. 148 and the opening weekend record in South Korea. 149 Hong Kong, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, the UAE, the Philippines, and Peru. The last 3 records were surpassed by The Avengers. 140 150 151 Following China in total earnings were South Korea, $69.1 million, and Japan, $54.2 million. 152. Critical response. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 35% based on reviews from 267 critics and an average rating of 5/10. The site's critical consensus reads, "Its special effects and 3D shots are undeniably impressive, but they aren't enough to fill up its loud, bloated running time, or mask its thin, indifferent script." 153. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 42 out of 100 based on 37 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 154 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. 155 156. Roger Ebert gave the film 1 out of 4 stars, criticizing its visuals, plot, characters, and dialogue. 157 Richard Roper likewise panned the film, giving it a D and responded that rarely has a movie had less of a soul and less interesting characters. 158. A.O. Scott in the New York Times wrote, "I can't decide if this movie is so spectacularly, breathtakingly dumb as to induce stupidity in anyone who watches, or so brutally brilliant that it disarms all reason. What's the difference?" 159. Several critics felt that Shia LaBeouf and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley's performances were ineffective. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone gave the film 0 stars, the same rating that he had given to Revenge of the Fallen, and stated the 2 actors couldn't be duller. 160 Tirdad Dirakshani of the Philadelphia Inquirer stated that LaBeouf plays Witwicky as if he had a ferocious case of attention deficit disorder. After 2 films, his fidgeting isn't cute anymore. 161. James Berardinelli of Real Views wrote that LaBeouf has sunk to greater levels of incompetence here. It's hard to call his posturing and screaming acting. 162. Jason Solomons of The Observer wrote Erie first introduced to Huntington-Whiteley via a close-up of her bum, segueing straight from the film's opening sequence and titles onto the pert buttocks and underwear of our heroine, and that her English posh girl accent renders her practically unintelligible when surrounded by American accents and falling masonry. 163. Much of the criticism towards Rosie Huntington-Whiteley compared her in an unfavorable light to Megan Fox. Lou Lamenick of the New York Post wrote that her acting makes Megan Fox look like Meryl Streep in comparison. 164. Huntington-Whiteley was later nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actress for her performance, but lost to David Spade for Jack and Jill. 165. For good or ill, Bay is the soul of a new machine, the poet of post-human cinema, the CEO of Hollywood's military entertainment complex. Richard Corliss, in his review of the film for Time magazine 166. Steve Prokopi of Ain't It Cool News found the film to be better than the first 2. 167 Jim Vejvoda of IGN gave the film a score of 7 out of 10, also stating that it was the best of the franchise. 168 Online graded the film a B+ while noting if this film is truly the end of a trilogy, its main antagonists should have played more of a part. 169 Website Daily Bhaskar also praised the film, rating it 3.5 out of 5 stars, citing it as an improvement on the previous film, and writing that it gives fans something to cheer about. 170. Many reviews praised the film's special effects and aggressive use of 3D. After previewing a partial, unfinished cut of the film, Kofi Outlaw of Screen Rant declared that Bay had created the best 3D experience since James Cameron's Avatar. 171 Neil Schneider of Meant to Be Seen, a website focused on stereoscopic 3D gaming and entertainment, remarked that while Transformers: Dark of the Moon had the scrapings of a really good story, this 3D movie was shot with a 2D script. On the topic of 3D, Schneider said Transformers 3 was a mix of native stereoscopic 3D camera capturing and 2D/3D conversion, as a 3D tool, and most was done very well. He added, at a minimum, Transformers 3 demonstrates that fast-cutting sequences are indeed possible and practical in stereoscopic 3D. More than that, it was a comfortable experience and helped exemplify great use of stereoscopic 3D with CGI live action and CGI digital characters. That said, I think they still could have taken it much further. 172. Charlie Jane Anders of Jezebel believed that some elements of the film were deliberate self-references to Michael Bay's own sense of underappreciation after the backlash to the second film. After a few hours of seeing Shia get dissed, overlooked and mistreated, the message becomes clear: Shia, as always, is a stand-in for Michael Bay. And Bay is showing us just what it felt like to deal with the ocean of hate raid, the snarking, the Razzie Award, the mean reviews that Revenge of the Fallen unleashed. She went on to say that the film's frequent, often jarring shifts in tone were an intentional endorsement of Michael Bay's own filmmaking style. Tone is for single-purpose machines. Consistency is for Decepticons. Michael Bay's ideal movie shifts from action movie to teen comedy to political drama with the same well-lubricated ease that his cars become men. By the time you've finished watching, you will speak Michael Bay's cinematic language. Shia. Said LaBeouf, /a.lbvf/Shia LaBeouf, born June 11, 1986, is an American actor and filmmaker. 3-4 He played Louis Stevens in the Disney Channel series Even Stevens, a role for which he received Young Artist Award nominations in 2001 and 2002 and won a Daytime Emmy Award in 2003. He made his film debut in The Christmas Path, 1998. In 2004, he made his directorial debut with the short film Let's Love Hate and later directed a short film titled Maniac, 2011, starring American rappers Cage and Kid Cudi. In 2007, LaBeouf starred in the commercially successful films Disturbia and Surf's Up. From 2007 to 2011, LaBeouf starred in the film Transformers and its sequels. The three films were commercially successful. In 2008, he played Henry Mudd Williams Jones III in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. His other credits include the films Holes, 2003, Constantine, 2005, Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, 2010, Lawless, 2012, The Company You Keep, 2012, Nymphomaniac, 2013, Charlie Countryman, 2013, Fury, 2014, American Honey, 2016, Borg BS McEnroe, 2017, Honey Boy, 2019, The Peanut Butter Falcon, 2019, Pieces of a Woman, 2020, and Padre Pio, 2022. Since 2014, LaBeouf has pursued a variety of public performance art projects with LaBeouf, Ronco and Turner. 5. Early life. LaBeouf was born on June 11, 1986, in Los Angeles, California. 6'7", he is the only child of visual artist, jewelry designer, and dancer Shayna Sadate and professional clown Jeffrey LaBeouf. 9'10", his mother died of heart failure in August 2022. 11, LaBeouf's mother was Jewish. 12-13, and his Cajun father is Christian. 14-15, he has stated that he was raised around both sides. He was baptized and bar mitzvahed. 16-17, one of the camps he attended was Christian. 18, he embraced the Catholic faith in 2022. 19-20. LaBeouf has described his parents as hippies, his father as tough as nails and a different breed of man, and his upbringing as similar to a hippie lifestyle, stating that his parents were pretty weird people, but they loved me and I loved them. 21-22. His parents eventually divorced, mainly owing to financial problems, and LaBeouf had what he has described as a good childhood, growing up poor in Echo Park with his mother, who worked selling fabrics and brooches. 23-24-25, LaBeouf's uncle was going to adopt him at one stage because his parents could not afford to have him anymore and they had too much pride to go on welfare or food stamps. 26. As a way of dealing with his parents' divorce, he would perform for his family, mimicking his father. 27. LaBeouf has stated that during his childhood, his father was on drugs and was placed in drug rehabilitation for heroin addiction, while LaBeouf's mother was trying to hold down the fort. 21. During a period when his father was in rehab for his addictions, when LaBeouf was around the age of 10, he overheard his mother being raped by a stranger in their home. 28. LaBeouf then lived with his father from the age of 12 while he was filming Even Stevens, with his father serving as his on-set guardian. 29. During this time, he accompanied his father to meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. 30. LaBeouf has also said he was subjected to abuse by his father, who once pointed a gun at his son during a Vietnam War flashback. 10. LaBeouf remains close to and financially supports his father, as he did for his mother until her death. 30-21-31. He attended 32nd Street Visual and Performing Arts Magnet in Los Angeles, LAUSD, 10 and Alexander Hamilton High School, although he received most of his education from tutors. 25. In an interview, LaBeouf said that, looking back on his childhood, he feels grateful and considers some of those memories as scars. 23. Career. 1996 to 2006, career beginnings and Even Stevens. Prior to acting, LaBeouf practiced comedy around his neighborhood as an escape from a hostile environment. 24. At age 10, he began performing stand-up at the Improv, describing his appeal as having disgustingly dirty material and a 50-year-old mouth on the 10-year-old kid. 25-31-32. He subsequently found an agent through the Yellow Pages and was taken on after pretending to be his own manager. 33. LaBeouf has said that he initially became an actor because his family was broke, not because he wanted to pursue an acting career. 32-34. Having originally gotten the idea from a child actor he met who had things he wanted. 30. In the early 2000s, LaBeouf became known among young audiences after playing Louis Stevens on the Disney Channel weekly program Even Stevens. 35. A role that later earned him a Daytime Emmy Award. 10. He has said that he grew up on that show and being cast was the best thing that happened to him. 21. In the next several years, he appeared in the film Holes, 2003, which received praise. 36. In 2005, he co-starred in Constantine, playing the role of Chaz Kramer, with Keanu Reeves in the starring role. The same year he provided the voice of Aspel in the Disney-produced English dub of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. LaBeouf made his directorial debut with the short film Let's Love Hate with Lorenzo Eduardo. 37. He has played real-life people, including golfer Frances Wimett. 38. And the younger version of Dito Montiel in A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, 2006. 39. 2007 to 2011, Breakthrough and Big Budget Films. LaBeouf with co-star Megan Fox at the Transformers press conference in Paris in June 2009. LaBeouf starred in Disturbia, a thriller released on April 13, 2007, as a teenager under house arrest who suspects that his neighbor is a serial killer, which he considered a character-driven role. 24. He received positive reviews for the role, with the Buffalo News writing that he is able to simultaneously pull off the character's anger, remorse, and intelligence. 40. He hosted Saturday Night Live on April 14, 2007. 41. And returned the following season to host the episode that aired on May 10, 2008. 42. LaBeouf starred in the 2007 science fiction film Transformers opposite Megan Fox. He played the lead character, Sam Witwicky, a man involved in the conflict between Autobots and Decepticons. 43. The film succeeded at the box office, beginning a film franchise. 44. In Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 2008, LaBeouf portrayed Indiana Jones' greaser son, Mutt Williams. Stephanie Zakheik of Salon deemed his performance appealing enough and wrote that he sensibly keeps his performance as low-key as possible. 45. LaBeouf told the Los Angeles Times that he felt he as an actor dropped the ball on Jones' legacy, and there was a reason the film was not universally accepted. Clarification needed. 46. His next film was Eagle Eye, released on September 26, 2008. Josh Bell of Las Vegas Weekly said he makes a credible bid for action hero status, although his occasional stabs at emotional depth don't really go anywhere. 47. In February 2009, LaBeouf made his music video directorial debut, directing the video for I Never Knew You, a single by American rapper Cage, from his third album Depart From Me, 2009. It was shot in Los Angeles and features several cameo appearances from Cage's Definitive Jux label mates. 48-49 Through Cage, LaBeouf met Kid Cudi. All three of them later worked on a short film titled Maniac, 2011, which was inspired by the song of the same name from Cudi's second album Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager, 2010. Aside from directing the short film, LaBeouf directed the music video for Kid Cudi's song Marijuana, which he filmed at the 2010 Cannabis Cup. 48. He appeared in the Oliver Stone-directed film Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, 2010, the sequel to Wall Street, 1987. In this, LaBeouf played an ambitious Wall Street trader. 50. The Hollywood Reporter named LaBeouf as one of the young male actors who are pushing, or being pushed into taking over Hollywood as the new A-list. 51. LaBeouf reprised the role of Sam Witwicky in the 2009 sequel to Transformers, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Filming took place in 2008. 52 Due to LaBeouf's injury from his car accident, director Michael Bay and screenwriter Roberto Orci had to rewrite the script to protect his hand throughout filming. 53 LaBeouf said production was only delayed 2 days after his accident because Bay made up for it by filming second unit scenes, and LaBeouf recovered a few weeks earlier than expected, allowing him to return to the set. 54 Near the end of filming, LaBeouf injured his eye when he hit a prop. The injury required several stitches. He resumed filming 2 hours later. 55 While commercially successful, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen garnered negative reviews from critics. 56-57 with LaBeouf sharing a nomination for the Worst Screen Couple of 2009 Razzie Award with either Megan Fox or any Transformer. 58. He returned to star in Transformers: Dark of the Moon, the third installment in the film series, released in June 2011. It received poor reviews, became the 10th film to gross over $1 billion, and marked LaBeouf's final time starring in a Transformers film. 57-59. 2012, present, subsequent career. In June 2012, Icelandic band Sigur Rós released a music video for the song Fjögur Piano. It depicts a man and woman locked in a never-ending cycle of addiction and desire, in which LaBeouf stars and appears nude. 60. In 2012, Rob Cantor of Tally Hall produced a song describing LaBeouf as a murderous cannibal. In 2014, Cantor produced a music video based on this song. Despite the lyrics, the intent was humorous and non-serious, and LaBeouf appeared at the end of the video, applauding. 61. LaBeouf has created 3 short graphic novels: Stale and Mate, Cyclical, and Let's Fucking Party, and a webcomic series, Cheek Ups, through the publishing company, The Campaign Book. In April 2012, he promoted them at Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. 62-63 In the same year, LaBeouf played a bootlegger in John Hillcoat's crime drama Lawless. 64. LaBeouf at the premiere of Fury in 2014. In February 2013, he pulled out of what would have been his Broadway debut, in Lyle Kessler's play Orphans, citing creative differences with co-star Alec Baldwin. 65 Although the New York Times and Baldwin himself maintain LaBeouf was fired. 66-67 A month later, a film in which he starred alongside Robert Redford titled The Company You Keep was released. 68 He next portrayed Jerome Morris in the Lars von Trier-directed erotic art film Nymphomaniac, which premiered in December 2013. 69 Meanwhile, at the film screening at the Berlin Film Festival, a tuxedoed LaBeouf walked the red carpet with a paper bag over his head with the words "I am not famous anymore" written upon it. 70. LaBeouf co-starred with Brad Pitt and Logan Lerman in David Ayer's World War II set film, Fury, which was released in October 2014. 71 Peter Travers of Rolling Stone called LaBeouf's performance outstanding. 72 Whilst New York Daily News's Joe Newmayer commented that he finally finds a role he can disappear into, without his image getting in the way. 73. Calvin Wilson of St. Louis Post-Dispatch called LaBeouf's performance one of his best. 74. In 2015, LaBeouf starred in SIA's music video for Elastic Heart along with Maddie Ziegler. 75 He also starred in the war thriller film Man Down directed by Dito Montiel alongside Gary Oldman and Kate Mara. In 2016, LaBeouf starred in American Honey, directed by Andrea Arnold, playing the male lead role, Jake. In Variety, Guy Lodge wrote that despite the apparent stunt casting of LaBeouf, he easily delivers his best performance here, bleeding the eccentricities of his own celebrity persona into the character to fascinating, oddly moving effect. 76 In 2017, he portrayed tennis player John McEnroe in the Swedish sports drama film Borg vs McEnroe. 77-78. In 2019, LaBeouf starred in the comedy drama film The Peanut Butter Falcon, which premiered in March, and was released in August 79. In the same year, he portrayed a character based on his father in the film Honey Boy, which he also wrote. 80. He penned the screenplay while in rehab and based it upon his life as an actor. 81-82. Both The Peanut Butter Falcon and Honey Boy garnered acclaim from critics. 83. The following year, LaBeouf starred in The Tax Collector, directed by David Ayer. 84. In September 2020, he participated in a virtual reading of the comedy-drama film Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 85. LaBeouf starred in the Netflix drama film Pieces of a Woman opposite Vanessa Kirby, directed by Cornel Mundruzo. 86. In 2023, LaBeouf made his stage debut in the premiere production of David Mamet's play Henry Johnson. 87. Playing the titular character's prison cellmate. 88. In 2024, he played a lead role in Francis Ford Coppola's drama Megalopolis as Clodio Pulcher, the jealous cousin of the film's protagonist. 89. He is set to star in the thriller Assassination, written by Mamet. 90. In 2025, LaBeouf appeared as himself in the feature documentary Slauson Wreck, the debut film of director Leo Lewis O'Neill. 91. Shot from 2018 to 2020, the film follows LaBeouf's free acting lab in South Central Los Angeles as it expands into an avant-garde theater company and then collapses amid his increasingly volatile behavior. Slauson Wreck premiered at the 78th Cannes Film Festival in the Cannes Classics section on May 18, 2025, with LaBeouf in attendance. 92. LaBeouf told reporters the film depicts ugly and disgusting aspects of his process, but stating that he fully supports the release of the film. 91. Performance art. Main article, LaBeouf, Ronco and Turner. LaBeouf at the 2014 Berlin International Film Festival. In early 2014, LaBeouf began collaborating with British artist and author of the Metamodernist Manifesto, Luke Turner, and Finnish artist Nastja Ronco. 93-94. Embarking on a series of actions described by Dazed as a multi-platform meditation on celebrity and vulnerability. 95. Since then, LaBeouf, Ronco and Turner have engaged in numerous high-profile performance art projects, including #IamSorry, 2014, #AlmeMovies, 2015, #TouchMySoul, 2015, #TakeMeNowhere, 2016, and He Will Not Divide.us, 2017 to 2021. On February 9, 2014, the artists caused controversy at the Berlin Film Festival when LaBeouf arrived at the red carpet wearing a brown paper bag over his head with the words "I am not famous anymore" written on it. 96. In a conversation conducted as part of the trio's #interview piece in November 2014, LaBeouf said that he was heartbroken and genuinely remorseful and full of shame and guilt at the start of their subsequent #IamSorry performance, in which he occupied a Los Angeles gallery for 6 days wearing the paper bag and silently crying in front of visitors, but that in the end I felt cared for. However it came, it was beautiful, it blew me away. 95, 97, 98. He revealed, however, that one woman had proceeded to sexually assault him during the February performance. 99. While Ronco and Turner later clarified that they had prevented the assault by intervening as soon as they were aware of the incident starting to occur. 100. 101. In 2015, LaBeouf appeared in #Introductions, a half-hour video made by LaBeouf, Ronco and Turner in collaboration with Central St. Martin's Fine Art students, comprising a series of short monologues performed by LaBeouf in front of a green screen. 102. One segment in the form of an exaggerated motivational speech. 103. Dub "Just Do It" after the Nike slogan, became an internet meme after going viral within days of being released, spawning numerous remixes and parodies, and becoming the most searched for GIF of 2015 according to Google. 104. Personal life. Relationships. LaBeouf met British actress Mia Goth while filming Nymphomaniac in 2012. On October 10, 2016, LaBeouf and Goth appeared to have married in a Las Vegas ceremony officiated by an Elvis impersonator. 105 2 days later, a local official said that the pair were not legally married, but instead a commitment ceremony was performed. 106 later that month, LaBeouf confirmed during an appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show that they had married. 107 in September 2018, it was announced the couple had separated and filed for divorce. 108 in February 2022, it was reported that Goth and LaBeouf had reconciled and she was pregnant with their first child. 109 their daughter was born in March 2022. 110 111 LaBeouf dated British musician FKA Twigs from 2018 to 2019. 112 he began dating American actress Margaret Qualley in 2020 after they co-starred in her sister Rainey Qualley's short film music video Love Me Like You Hate Me. The relationship reportedly ended in January 2021, and in September, Margaret Qualley told Harper's Bazaar that she believed FKA Twigs' abuse allegations against LaBeouf. 113 Politics. In 2015, LaBeouf endorsed Jeremy Corbyn's campaign in the Labour Party leadership election in the United Kingdom. He told the Evening Standard, "I like Jeremy Corbyn. I like him in every way. British politics just got very exciting." 114 115 Religion. LaBeouf contributed an essay to the 2004 book I Am Jewish by Judea Pearl, in which he stated that he has a personal relationship with God that happens to work within the confines of Judaism. 116 LaBeouf had described himself as Jewish 117 but declared in 2007 that religion had never made sense to him. 16 However, LaBeouf said in an interview in Interview magazine in October 2014 that I found God doing the film Fury. I became a Christian man. Brad Pitt was really instrumental in guiding my head through this. 118 In an August 2022 interview with Bishop Robert Barron, LaBeouf said that he had fallen in love with the Catholic faith while studying for the titular role of the film Padre Pio and staying in a Capuchin monastery in the process. He stated that the traditional Latin Mass played a key role in his conversion. 119 120 In May 2023, LaBeouf confirmed that he was undergoing the Order of Christian Initiation of Adults. 121 On December 31, 2023, LaBeouf was confirmed into the Catholic Church by Bishop Barron and it was said that he had expressed a wish to enter into the diaconate. 122 123 Controversies. This criticism or controversy section may compromise the article's neutrality. Please help integrate negative information into other sections or remove undue focus on minor aspects through discussion on the talk page. April 2025. Plagiarism accusations. On December 17, 2013, LaBeouf released his short film HowardContour.com to the internet. Shortly thereafter, several bloggers noted its close similarity to Justin M. Damiano, a 2007 comic by Ghost World creator Dan Clowes. 124 Wired journalist Graham Macmillan noted at least 3 similarities in his article, one of which was that the opening monologue for the short and the comic were identical. 125 LaBeouf would later remove the film and claim that he did not intend to copy Clowes but was instead inspired by him and got lost in the creative process. 36. He followed this up with several apologies via Twitter, writing, "In my excitement and naivete as an amateur filmmaker, I got lost in the creative process and neglected to follow proper accreditation, and I deeply regret the manner in which these events have unfolded and want at Daniel Clowes to know that I have a great respect for his work." Clowes responded by saying, "The first I ever heard of the film was this morning when someone sent me a link. I've never spoken to or met Mr. LaBeouf. I actually can't imagine what was going through his mind." 126. LaBeouf was criticized over his apology, with some sites such as the AV Club, noting that the apology itself appeared to have been lifted from a 2010 post on Yahoo Answers. 127. Since the initial discovery of the plagiarism of Clow's work, LaBeouf's other work has come under scrutiny. News outlets reported that LaBeouf's graphic novels, Let's Fucking Party and Stale and Mate, had been plagiarized from Benoit Turturro's The Little Girl and the Cigarette and Charles Bukowski's Assault. 128-129. In January 2014, LaBeouf spoke about the plagiarism accusations with Bleeding Cool writer Rich Johnston, stating that he saw copyright laws as too restrictive and that they did not allow for ideas to flow freely. 130. LaBeouf later tweeted a description of his next project, Daniel Boring, a reference to David Boring, another comic created by Klaus. The description of the project was also taken word for word from a description by Klaus of his comic. Klaus' attorney, Michael Kump, has since sent a cease and desist letter to LaBeouf's attorney, which LaBeouf posted on Twitter. 131. Legal issues. On June 26, 2014, LaBeouf was arrested at New York City's Studio 54 Theater and subsequently charged with disorderly conduct, harassment, and criminal trespass. 132-133. He was said to have been acting disorderly, yelling and being loud. 134. Following the incident, LaBeouf voluntarily sought outpatient treatment for alcoholism. 135. He pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, while the trespassing and harassment charges were dropped. 136. On July 8, 2017, LaBeouf was arrested in downtown Savannah, Georgia, at around 4 a.m. for public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and obstruction. 137. Body cam footage showed LaBeouf making profanity-laced racial remarks towards police officers during his arrest. 138. He later attributed the incident to his alcohol addiction. 138. After pleading no contest to the charge of disorderly conduct in October 2017, LaBeouf was found guilty of obstruction but was found not guilty of public intoxication. 139. He was sentenced to probation for 1 year, including time served, and ordered to pay a $1,000 fine as well as seek therapy to manage his anger and substance use issues. 139. In September 2020, LaBeouf was criminally charged with misdemeanor battery and petty theft for his involvement in an altercation with a man in June of that year. 140. He pleaded not guilty. A judge ordered LaBeouf into a diversion program in May 2021. 141. Which he completed, resulting in the charges being dropped. 142. Abuse allegations. In December 2020, LaBeouf was sued by his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs for sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. 112. The lawsuit also detailed allegations that he abused another ex-girlfriend, stylist Carolyn Faux. 143. LaBeouf stated in his response that he had been abusive to himself and those around him for years and that he was ashamed and sorry to those he hurt. 112. He later denied the allegations. 144. The lawsuit was scheduled to proceed to trial scheduled for April 17, 2023. 145. November 6, 2023. 146. October 14, 2024, and September 29, 2025. 147. Before being settled on undisclosed terms. 148. Following the lawsuit, Netflix removed him from its awards campaign for Pieces of a Woman. 149. He subsequently took a hiatus from acting and began receiving treatment. 143. During an interview with John Bernthal on his Real Ones podcast in August 2022, LaBeouf remarked that he had hurt that woman, adding, "I was a pleasure-seeking, selfish, self-centered, dishonest, inconsiderate, fearful human being." 150. Casting dispute for Don't Worry Darling. Main article, Don't Worry Darling. In April 2020, LaBeouf was attached to star in the psychological thriller film Don't Worry Darling, directed by Olivia Wilde. 151 He was replaced by Harry Styles in September 2020 due to ostensible scheduling conflicts. 152 Wilde later stated that she fired LaBeouf due to his combative energy, clashing with cast and crew before filming started, including Florence Pugh, who expressed being uncomfortable with LaBeouf's behavior. 157. LaBeouf denied he was fired and said that he quit the film due to lack of rehearsal time in August 2020. In August 2022, Variety published a story containing email forwards sent to Wilde disputing her firing claims, along with photos of text messages and videos from Wilde in August 2020 asking LaBeouf to reconsider quitting the film. Representatives for Wilde and the studio declined to comment on LaBeouf's allegations, although Wilde later stated to Vanity Fair that "all I'll say is he was replaced." Vanity Fair reported that LaBeouf gave Wilde an ultimatum to choose between him and Pugh, with Wilde choosing Pugh. Joshua David Duhamel/Demel, born November 14, 1972, is an American actor and model. After various modeling work, he made his acting debut as Leo Duprez on the ABC daytime soap opera All My Children, for which he won a Daytime Emmy Award, and later starred as Danny McCoy on NBC's Las Vegas. Duhamel has ventured into film, appearing as one of the main protagonists in 4 of the Transformers films, most recently in the 5th entry, Transformers: The Last Night, 2017. He has also appeared in When in Rome, 2010, Life as We Know It, 2010, New Year's Eve, 2011, Safe Haven, 2013, and You're Not You, 2014. In 2015, Duhamel co-starred on the short-lived CBS crime drama Battle Creek. He has also starred in several video games, most notably Call of Duty, World War II, 2017. In 2018, he appeared in the coming-of-age film Love, Simon. In 2021, Duhamel starred in the role of Sheldon Sampson in the Netflix superhero series Jupiter's Legacy. He also portrayed the role of Jacob Lee in the 2022 survival horror game The Callisto Protocol. Early life. Duhamel was born in Minot, North Dakota. His mother, Bonnie L. Bachmeyer Kemper, is a retired teacher and local businesswoman, and his father, Larry Duhamel, is an advertising salesman. 2. Duhamel's family is Catholic. 3. His parents divorced during his youth. He was raised by his mother and stepfather George Kemper. He has a younger sister and 2 younger maternal half-sisters. 4. After graduating from Minot High School in 1991, 5. Duhamel attended Minot State University and played backup quarterback for the university's football team. 6. He planned to attend dental school 7 but dropped out 1.5 credits shy of his undergraduate degree. 8. He later completed his credits, and received his degree in 2005. 9-10. Career. Duhamel has stated, "After college, I followed an ex-girlfriend to Northern California, did a bunch of odd jobs." He won the title of Male Model of the Year in an International Modeling and Talent Association, IMTA, competition in 1997-11, the runner-up was actor Ashton Kutcher. 12. Duhamel began his acting career as an extra in the music videos for Donna Summer's I Will Go With You, Con Te Turturro, and Christina Aguilera's Genie in a Bottle in 1999. 6. Josh trained with Scott's Adita Acting Studios. 13. Later that year, he won the role of Leo Duprez on the ABC soap opera All My Children. His work on the show, especially his character's pairing with Greenlee Smythe, portrayed by actress Rebecca Budig, garnered critical acclaim. 14-15. In 2000, he posed fully nude for Greg Gorman's As I See It photography book. In 2003, he received a Daytime Emmy Award nomination for the Special Fan Award for America's Favorite Couple in 2002, shared with Budig, and a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor for his portrayal of Leo Duprez. 16 Duhamel left All My Children in 2002 to pursue other acting opportunities. In 2003, Duhamel landed a primetime role on the NBC show Las Vegas, playing the head of security for the Montecito Casino, Danny McCoy. His character succeeded James Caan's as head of the casino after Caan departed the series at the end of the 4th season. The series ended in 2008. Duhamel made his big screen acting debut in 2004's Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, then starred in the thriller Turistas, 2006. After watching an episode of Las Vegas in which Duhamel's character had just returned from the war in Iraq, Steven Spielberg handpicked him for the role of Captain William Lennox in 2007's summer blockbuster film Transformers 11, a film for which Spielberg was the executive producer. Duhamel reprised the role in 3 of the sequels: Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, released in June 2009, 17 Transformers, Dark of the Moon, released in June 2011, and Transformers, The Last Night, released in June 2017. Duhamel was the official pace car driver for the 2009 Indianapolis 500, driving the 2010 Chevrolet Camaro pace car. 18 in 2010, he played the lead role in the film When in Rome as Nick Beeman. In 2014, Duhamel starred in the touching drama You're Not You, playing the husband of Kate, Hilary Swank, who has the degenerative disease ALS. On March 23, 2013, Duhamel hosted the 2013 Kids' Choice Awards, which was broadcast live from Los Angeles, California. 19 He and his co-star from Safe Haven, Julianne Hough, performed a Safe Haven-themed showcase appearance via video on The Price is Right with Drew Carey. In 2016, he starred as Frank Dunning in the Hulu science fiction thriller miniseries November 22, 63. 20. In 2018, he appeared in a Taco Bell commercial to advertise Mexican spiced fries with nacho cheese sauce called Web of Fries. In March 2018, it was announced that Duhamel would star alongside Megan Fox in the independent family comedy Think Like a Dog. 21-22 In the same year, he starred in the romantic comedy drama film Love, Simon. 23. On February 11, 2019, it was announced that Duhamel had been cast as Sheldon Sampson in the Netflix superhero series Jupiter's Legacy. 24. The series premiered on May 7, 2021, and was cancelled less than a month later. 25. In February 2021, it was announced that Duhamel would co-star opposite Jennifer Lopez in the film Shotgun Wedding, replacing Armie Hammer, who had left the project in January, following controversy concerning sexually explicit social media activity. 26. In August 2021, it was announced that Duhamel joined Renee Zellweger in the Thing About Pam limited series on NBC. He was to play a defense attorney, Joel Schwartz, on this show based on a real-life crime story. 27. In early 2022, it was announced that Duhamel had been cast as a series regular on The Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, for its 2nd season, as Colin Cole, a former NHL player turned coach who runs the Hockey Institute. 28. On September 23, 2022, Duhamel's film Bandit, based on the best-selling novel and true story about the Flying Bandit, was released in theaters and on demand. The film received positive reviews, with critics calling it a career best performance for Duhamel. 29. Other ventures. In 2005, he became the co-owner of 10 North Main, a restaurant in Minot, North Dakota. 30-31. Duhamel is a spokesman for North Dakota tourism and has appeared in promotional videos for the state over the past decade. 32. In 2022, Duhamel was paid $75,000 to become the face of the state's tourism campaign for the next 2 years. 33. Personal life. Relationships and family. Duhamel met and began dating singer Stacey Ann Ferguson, better known by her stage name Fergie, in September 2004 after Ferguson appeared on Duhamel's show Las Vegas with her then band the Black Eyed Peas. 34. The couple wed on January 10, 2009, in a Catholic ceremony at the Church Estate Vineyards in Malibu, California. 35-36. They have a son born in August 2013. 37. On September 14, 2017, the couple announced that they had separated earlier in the year. 38. On June 1, 2019, the couple filed for divorce after 2 years of separation. 39. As of late November 2019, their divorce was finalized. 40. In late 2018, Duhamel began dating former Miss World America Audra Murray. 41-42. On January 8, 2022, Duhamel announced his engagement to Murray. 43-44. They married on September 10, 2022. 45. In September 2023, it was announced that the couple were expecting their first child together. 46. Their son was born in January 2024. 47. In a 2023 interview, Duhamel said, "That's why Audra's so great for me. We're both hardcore North Dakotans. We both love lake life." 48. Interests and politics. Duhamel is a practicing Catholic and attends church regularly. 49. On April 8, 2016, Duhamel posted a selfie in which he wore a t-shirt bearing the name of Doug Burgum, then a candidate for the Republican nomination for governor of North Dakota in the 2016 election. 50. On June 28, 2023, Duhamel endorsed Burgum, then governor of North Dakota, in the 2024 Republican Party presidential primary. 51. In an Instagram story, Duhamel wrote, "I don't normally get involved in politics, but Governor Burgum has become a good friend over the years and I can't think of anyone better than him to be our president." 52. Residence. Duhamel owns 2 cabins in Minnesota. 53. In October 2023, in an interview on In Depth with Graham Bensinger, Duhamel said, "And the older I got, the more I wanted to come back here to North Dakota." 54. He described his lake house as a place where he can get back to being who I really am. 48. In the media. In 2012, Duhamel was inducted into the Scandinavian American Hall of Fame, a signature event of Norsk Høstfest. 55. On May 19, 2022, Minot State University named their summer theater stage the Josh Duhamel Stage in his honor. Patrick Galen Dempsey, born January 13, 1966, is an American actor and racing driver best known for playing neurosurgeon Dr. Derek Shepard in Grey's Anatomy, 2005 to 2015, 2020 to 2021. He is also known for his leading man romantic film roles, such as Enchanted, 2007. Dempsey has received nominations for a Primetime Emmy Award and 2 Golden Globe Awards, and was named as People's Sexiest Man Alive in 2023. 2. Dempsey started his career acting in films such as Can't Buy Me Love, 1987, and Loverboy, 1989. He has since starred in several romantic comedy films such as Sweet Home Alabama, 2002, Maid of Honor, 2008, Valentine's Day, 2010, and Bridget Jones's Baby, 2016. Dempsey has also taken dramatic roles in Outbreak, 1995, Scream 3, 2000, Freedom Riders, 2007, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, 2011, Thanksgiving, 2023, and Ferrari, 2023. He starred in and produced Flypaper, 2011, and The Art of Racing in the Rain, 2019. Dempsey, who maintains a sports car and vintage car collection, enjoys auto racing in his spare time. He has competed in events such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans and Daytona events in sports car racing, and the Baja 1000 in Rally Raid. Prior to the 2013 24 Hours of Le Mans, Dempsey declared that he would walk away from acting if he could and dedicate himself full-time to motorsports. 3. Early life. Dempsey was born in Lewiston, Maine 1 and grew up in the nearby towns of Turner and Buckfield. He has 2 older sisters. For his mother, Amanda, née Casson, 5 was a school secretary, and his father, William, was an insurance salesman. 167. He attended Levitt Area High School, Buckfield High School and St. Dominic Regional High School, and after moving to Houston attended Willow Ridge High School. 4. In his youth, Dempsey participated in juggling competitions. In 1981, he achieved 2nd place at the International Jugglers Association Championship in the juniors category, just behind Anthony Gatto, who is considered to be the best technical juggler of all time. 8. Dempsey was diagnosed with dyslexia at age 12. He told Barbara Walters on her 2008 Oscar special that he thinks dyslexia made him what he is today. "It's given me a perspective of you have to keep working," Dempsey told Walters. "I have never given up." 9. Acting career. 1983 to 1989, early roles and breakthrough. An invitation to audition for a role in the stage production of Torch Song Trilogy led to Patrick Dempsey's discovery as an actor in 1983. 10. His audition was successful and he spent the following 4 months touring with the company in Philadelphia. He followed this with another tour, Brighton Beach Memoirs, in the lead role, which was directed by Gene Saks. Dempsey has also made notable appearances in the stage productions of On Golden Pond, with the main acting company, and as Timmy, the Martin Sheen role, in a 1990 off-Broadway revival of the subject was Rose's co-starring with John Mahoney and Dana Ivey at the Roundabout Theatre in New York. Dempsey's first major feature film role was at age 21 with Beverly D'Angelo in the film In the Mood, the actual World War II story about Ellsworth Wise Carver whose relationships with older married women created a national uproar. He then co-starred in the 3rd installment of the comedy classic Meatballs 3, Summer Job, alongside Sally Kellerman in 1987. This was followed by the teen comedy Can't Buy Me Love in 1987 with actress Amanda Peterson and Some Girls with Jennifer Connelly in 1988. In 1989, Dempsey had the lead role in the films Loverboy with actress Kirstie Alley and Happy Together with actress Helen Slater. 11. 1990 to 2004, established actor. Dempsey at the 80th Academy Awards. Dempsey made several featured appearances in television in the 1990s. He was cast several times in pilots that were not picked up for a full season, including lead roles in the TV versions of the films The Player and About a Boy. He received positive reviews 12 however, as he portrayed real-life mob boss, Meyer Lansky in 1991 when Mobsters was put on the screen. His first major television role was a 3-episode stint as Will Truman's closeted sportscaster boyfriend on Will and Grace. He appeared in 4 episodes of Once and Again as Aaron Brooks, the schizophrenic brother of Lily, Cella Ward. Dempsey received an Emmy 13 nomination in 2001 as Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for the role of Aaron. In 1993, he played a young John F. Kennedy in the 2-part TV miniseries JFK, Reckless Youth. In 2000, he played Detective Kincaid in Scream 3. 11. Dempsey had a high-profile role as the fiancé of Reese Witherspoon's character in Sweet Home Alabama, 2002. In 2004, he co-starred in the highly acclaimed HBO production Iron-Jawed Angels, opposite Hilary Swank and Angelica Houston. He also appeared as special guest star in The Practice for its 3-episode finale season, 8x13-8x15. 2005 to 2015, Stardom and Grey's Anatomy. Main article, Grey's Anatomy. Dempsey has received significant public attention for his role as Dr. Derek McDreamy Shepherd in the medical drama Grey's Anatomy opposite Ellen Pompeo. Before landing the role, Dempsey auditioned for the role of Dr. Chase on another medical show, House. He also appeared in 2 episodes of the later Grey's spin-off Private Practice, playing the same character of Dr. Shepherd. 11. The relationship his character had with Meredith Grey, Ellen Pompeo, on screen has received a lot of praise and positive reactions. In 2007, Dempsey starred in the Disney film Enchanted, and the Paramount Pictures film Freedom Writers, where he reunited with his iron-jawed Angels co-star Hilary Swank. He also voiced the character Kenai in Brother Bear sequel Brother Bear 2, replacing Joaquin Phoenix. Other roles Dempsey appeared in during this time include the 2008 film Maid of Honor as Tom, and the 2010 romantic comedy Valentine's Day. The latter film follows 5 interconnecting stories about Los Angelinos anticipating, or in some cases dreading, the holiday of love. 14 Universal Pictures acquired the rights to the prize-winning novel The Art of Racing in the Rain in July 2009, for Dempsey to star in. 15 The film instead starred Milo Ventimiglia. 16 He starred as Dylan Gould in Transformers, Dark of the Moon, 2011. 17-18. In January 2014, he signed a 2-year contract to remain on Grey's Anatomy, then in its 10th season, that would ensure his participation for potential 11th and 12th seasons. 19-20-21 Dempsey was nominated for Best Actor, Television Series Drama at the 2006 Golden Globe Awards for the role. His success on the show has led to his becoming a spokesman for Mazda and State Farm Insurance. 22-23 Buddy TV ranked him number 1 on its list of TV's Sexiest Men of 2011. 24 In November 2020, Dempsey appeared as Derek Shepherd at the start of the series' 17th season for the first time since the character had died in April 2015. 25. 2016, present. Following his departure from Grey's Anatomy, Dempsey was working on 2 small-screen projects, a drama The Limit for Sundance TV and a travelogue spy thriller called Fodors. He said, "I would love to do something else. I'm going to take the rest of the year off to develop. I would like to be a producer. I would commit to a show that is 10 to 12 episodes. But 24 again, I don't know if I would do that. It's a very hard life. It's financially rewarding, but there comes a point where how much is enough, really? I'm focusing now on developing and racing and being a father to my children." 26. In 2016, Dempsey starred in the Universal Pictures film Bridget Jones's Baby with Renee Zellweger and Colin Firth. 27 And in 2018 he appeared on Epic's television miniseries The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. 28 In 2017 he participated in the short film Red Nose Day Actually, a sequel to the 2003 romantic comedy Love Actually. Dempsey played the role of the husband of Laura Linney's character Sarah. Starting from 2020 he has portrayed Dominic Morgan in the Sky Atlantic financial thriller series Devils. On February 4, 2020, Dempsey signed on to star as the lead of a CBS political drama pilot Ways and Means, where he would portray a congressional leader. 29 Initially planned to be considered for the 2020-21 television season, the pilot was rolled into consideration for the following season due to the COVID-19 pandemic. CBS ultimately passed on the finished pilot in May 2021. 30 In January 2021, it was announced that Dempsey would reprise his role in the Enchanted sequel, Disenchanted, which began production in spring of that year. 31 The film was released on Disney Plus in late 2022. 32 In 2023, he portrayed Sheriff Eric Newland